Hello, everybody.
Leslie, I don't see Mayor Renner here.
He is not here. I was actually just texting him to check on him.
Okay.
Would you like to get it started?
If it's the pleasure of the council. Okay. Let's
Go
get
ahead.
going. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting of the City of Bloomington Township to order. And if everyone could please recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Matthey,
Here.
Trustee Bolin,
Here.
Trustee Milawambwe,
Here, apparently.
Trustee Emig,
Here.
Trustee Painter,
Here.
Trustee Carrillo,
Here.
Trustee Black,
Here.
Trustee Crable,
Here.
Trustee Bray.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. Is there any item that any members of the trustee board would like to remove? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Trustee Matthews, seconded by Trustee Black. Roll call, correct?
That's correct. Trustee Matthey,
Yes.
Trustee Bolin,
Yes.
Trustee Milawambwe,
Yes.
Trustee Emig,
Yes.
Trustee Painter,
Yes.
Trustee Carrillo.
Yes.
I see you there. Thanks, Trustee Black,
Yes.
Trustee Crable,
Yes.
Trustee Bray.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The item passes. Next item on the agenda is a presentation of audit report for fiscal year April 1, 2018 to March 31st, 2019 by Richard W. Phillips, CPA. Richard, it's all yours. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, good.
You would have made a very good Verizon commercial.
There you go. There you go. Everybody should have received a copy of the audit in their packet, and I'm just going to walk through a few of the highlights and then take questions if you have any. In the beginning of the report is independent auditor's report, and Our opinion is similar or the same as it has been in prior years. It's an unmodified opinion on a cash basis of accounting or a modified cash basis of accounting. And basically that's what our report is, and that's what we're responsible for. The remainder of the document is the financial statements as presented by the Township Fiscal Office. We help prepare the financial statements, but they're responsible for the fair presentation. In the financial statements, when you look into them, you'll find that they finished the fiscal year with total assets in the town fund of $2,445,000. Of that, there was $513,000 in restricted fund for general assistance and $1,932,000 in fund balance for unrestricted fund balances. The cemetery, everyone's probably familiar with every memorial, is a discrete component unit and is presented independently of the town in terms of financial statement presentation, but it is a component because of the common board situation. So their total assets were $453,743, and all of that is restricted fund balance for cemetery purposes. So that's what you can see there. For the year, in terms of operating activities, the town funds had an excess of $296,917 in revenue over expenditures, and the cemetery had a deficit spending of $11,354, which is primarily related to capital outlays in the cemetery where they made capital additions to cemetery property. In addition to those assets, there's one other financial statement with assets in it, and that's the assets held in private trusts. And those are monies that individuals put into private trusts that are held in an irrevocable trust fund and a private lot fund. And there's about $219,000 in there that's required strictly for maintenance of those particular private plots. In terms of budgeting, the town budgeted $1,051,000 in the town fund, and they spent $1,432,000. So they were under budget by about $620,000. The general assistance fund, they budgeted $463,000. They spent $390,000, so they were about $78,000 under budget in the general assistance fund. And then in the cemetery fund, they had budgeted $921,000. It spent $775,000, so they were about $146,000 under budget in that fund. Those are probably the highlights of the finances. Other items that I am required to report as the auditor is that when we went through the audit, there were no new accounting policies that were implemented during this particular year. Because it's a modified cash basis, there usually isn't any significant estimates. If there was one that we would pick out, it would be depreciation and capital investments related to the cemetery. But really no significant estimates are made in those financial statements. We didn't have any difficulties in the performance of the audit. We didn't have any disagreements with management in the performance of the audit, and there were no uncorrected misstatements. We had a few items, minor items we identified or assisted in calculating for the township, but nothing material, and everything was recorded. If there was anything unusual about this year, it has to do with Corona, because we did all of this virtually by getting documentation either transmitted to us from the township or by confirmation with third parties where possible, which particularly we cover with revenue from the state and from the county. There were no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control that we identified, and we issued a separate report indicating that nothing came to our attention with regard to that. With that, I'll take questions, and if I can't answer them, I'll defer them to Deb.
Any questions from our esteemed board?
All right.
Okay, I'm not seeing any. So Richard, I want to say thank you very much for doing a great job under difficult circumstances. Sure, it's not very easy to be able to look into books from a distance.
No, it's quite quite an
I wanna thank you
unusual
very
year.
much for the great job that you've done.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You take care. Okay, I think I see Mayor Renner logged in,
You're handling the meeting.
looking at
I'm
as charming as ever.
I'm just an observer, Mboka. So, yeah, finish setting
No,
up,
I'm going to
baby.
pass it over to you. Let's go.
Well, at this point, do we have
Passing the baton.
do we have anything else, Madam Clerk?
Yes,
we do. Actually,
sorry.
we do have a. No,
Sorry,
yes, I'm
sorry
not Madam
late
Clerk.
in
Go ahead.
coming to this, but I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, excuse me.
You're fine. There's just one more item on the agenda before we get into the reports, and that is a discussion of an ordinance for compensation for township officials, the 2021 to 2025.
Okay. So let's go ahead. Anybody have any comments or thoughts or a motion on this item?
Should we start off with a presentation from the supervisor?
Presentation from Debbie.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Hi, I don't have a real presentation about this. This is something that is required for the board to put into place 180 days before the elected official, the voting of the positions in April. So I do have a timeline that I'd like you to be aware of. We did, mention that this needed to be looked into starting in July. Today you see a draft ordinance, and we've left it open in terms of what the board would need to consider based on our council memo and then review of the ordinance. The ordinance is similar to what it has been other than the compensation amount. Please review that. If you have any questions regarding that, you can certainly talk to Steve, the assessor, or myself. This is, remember, for the position, not for our salaries necessarily, but it's the position of the supervisor and the assessor. I do want to let you know that I know Steve and I are both planning on running again. We feel that our experience is, we're very experienced at the position and can continue to do great things for the township. So if you have any questions, the deadline for a response feedback from the board to fill in those blanks is due by September 18th. We do have to get it into the board packet for September.
Thank you, Deb. And just to clarify, irrespective of who runs or who wins, this is for the long term. Is that correct?
It's for 4 years. Remember, our salaries were frozen, and the township supervisor and assessor salaries were frozen in the previous term. So,
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody want to?
Here, I'll say something real quick.
Okay, I do see. And I see Jamie Massey. Okay, sorry, Scott, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't follow the raise hand button. I apologize. I just raised my hand, old fashioned. Yeah, so I guess maybe like some.
By you.
Yes,
no,
me.
I'm sorry, Scott.
Yeah, this was a hot issue a couple years back, and I guess I would be looking for more of a concrete recommendation from Deb and Steve on this. Like, just what do you guys think? What's the rest of the townships doing in the country or in the state? What are our peer agencies up to? And just mirror that. I'd rather avoid. I mean, it was a little more complicated the last time around, But if you guys send us a recommendation on what you think it should be, what others have done, I'd be more comfortable with that.
Thank you. Councilmember, Trustee Matthew.
I'm sorry, Deb, did you want to respond to Scott before that?
No, go ahead.
I was actually going to ask pretty much the same question as Scott did. I also just want to point out that I appreciated the Panagraph article with Scott's picture from 4 years ago. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. It looks like he's about 12 in that picture, I think. So
maybe 11.
Yeah, but no, I was going to ask the exact same thing. I know in the council packet you referenced Peoria, but maybe seeing some other townships like, Champaign and Springfield and around us. I know they're not all contemporaneous like we are, which means they might have different roles of responsibility. It'd still be a good reference point though. And then, we can make a decision and get something going for next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? At this point, do we need an action, Madam Clerk, or are we okay?
I would like to make one more comment.
Oh, please, go ahead.
I think everything that we're supposed to be doing is open to the public. And if something were to be discussed via email, it'd still have to be on the board packet for September. So not sure, I can give you those other items maybe via email first, and then you'll have to discuss that amongst yourselves to figure that out.
Absolutely agree with you. I just think having all that information before we went into the meeting, that complete report with current salaries, current compensation in terms of healthcare, like the full picture, just not the money, but the full salary package, that would be helpful.
For all the other townships that are comparable?
Whatever, well, at least for you and Steve, and then, if you've got information on for me, what I'd be looking on is what raises, percents and stuff have been happening other places, if you can find that.
All right.
Okay, we okay with that? I don't see any other hands up. Anything else, Madam Clerk? Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee Matthew.
Before we adjourn, if I could add one more thing, Mayor. Deb, you and I on the phone, we were talking about some needs for the building for the township. And you said you were going to put something together, or we could get together and work on some stuff for the building and some capital expenditures that were going to need to happen before next budget cycle. And I just wanted to see if there's been any progress. You said you were going to try to reach out to get some estimates on repair work that needed to happen for that building. And I wondered what the status of that was.
Status is we're using the people that had built Farnsworth, who had built the, designed the program or the building and everything. We haven't had them come in yet to do the overall review. We did get a price quote that's under 20,000. So we are waiting for COVID to let up a little bit, but I'll see what we can do to speed that along a little bit more.
Okay.
There is definitely, it's really what we're looking for is prioritization of the projects that need to be done here. I know the HVAC and I'm not sure what will need to come first. Parking lot is a big factor here. The parking lot's getting pretty torn up, so.
Okay. Jamie?
I'll move forward with that and see if we can get them in sooner.
That was all I had, Mayor. I apologize if I went out.
No apologies necessary. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, anything else we need to do before we ask for a motion to adjourn?
Well, on the agenda, you do have the reports from the township supervisor and assessor as well.
Anything else? Let's start with, excuse me, in the order. Is Deb first?
Deb is first.
I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry. Deb, anything else you want to add?
As of the changes that are happening in McLean County in terms of COVID, we may step back just like the city might be doing in terms of our classes for the workfare program. I just read about that today. And so we'll have to reevaluate even even getting together in a classroom with masks and 6 feet apart. So we'll be working on that in the next week to see if we need to step back slightly from that. Anything else? Nothing else new from our perspective that I have to report. Oh yeah, one other thing. We did receive approval for, and this is pretty exciting because it was a long process to do, but approval for cures for reimbursement and for FEMA. So it took a while to get everything in place for the township, and we are, ready to be able to submit some personal, emergency supplies and things like that. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Deb. Appreciate that. Steve? Steve Scudder? Can you hear me? Steve?
Steve, you are muted if you.
Yeah, unmute yourself. Otherwise, we can't hear stuff. Thank you. Steve, can you hear us? If you can hear us, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Mayor, I don't see Mr. Scudder on the participants list for this call right now.
He's on right now. He comes in by attendee, so he just
Right.
calls in. So he's there.
Steve,
He's
can
just
you hear
muted.
us?
Okay, Steve, if you hit *6, that will unmute you.
Steve, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Dude, hello, Steve.
He does hear you. He just can't be heard.
Steve. Okay, I tried to do it on my end, but I guess it's not working. Steve, can you hear us? Okay, well, at this point.
Yelling will make a difference.
Oh, what happened?
All right.
All right, at this point, we're not going to continue to go this far past 6 o'clock. So, Steve, you're going to have to bow down, beg forgiveness, and report to us at the next exciting episode of this meeting next month. So Steve, did I hear Steve? Okay, and I am also going to have to leave. So at our next exciting episode within a couple minutes, our distinguished Mayor Pro Tem, Mboka Milawambwe, will handle all of this. I'm sorry, Mboka, I didn't tell you beforehand. So if he's,
Okay.
I'm looking at the
Mayor
expression of his face.
or Trustee Renner, if
Yes.
we could, the last thing we just need to hit is public comment. We didn't have anyone register.
did.
We didn't have anyone register, but I just wanted to
I'm
document
sorry.
that
That's
for the
right.
record.
Public comments at the end of this one. No public comment, just for the record. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that. And Mboka,
Okay.
Godspeed, dude.
All right. Thank
And could we please get,
you very much.
could we please have a motion and a second to
No.
adjourn the meeting,
Oh,
please?
We have a motion to adjourn, moved by Trustee Carrillo. Is there a second?
I saw Trustee Bray.
Trustee Bray, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Awesome. We're adjourned. Let's say 60 seconds, and then Mboka, you're on, dude. Thank
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank
Enjoy.
you so much. Je vous verrai plus tard, mon ami.
À très bientôt. Okay, Leslie, are you counting? 60 seconds.
I think you have most everyone here.
Well, I see Julie is
Yeah,
out.
Julie looks like she stepped out, and so did Jamie. So if we want to
Yeah.
give them just a minute, and you tell me when you're ready to start.
All right. We're gonna do this Cape Canaveral style, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, shall we go ahead and get started then? Because I don't see Jamie, but I think he'll join us in progress. Okay. Oh, there he is. All right, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting of the Bloomington City Council to order. If everyone could please recite the Pledge of Allegiance and remain silent for a minute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Mathey,
Here.
Councilmember Bolin,
Here.
Councilmember Milawambwe,
Here.
Councilmember Emig,
Present.
Councilmember Painter,
Here.
Councilmember Carrillo,
Here.
Councilmember Black,
Here.
Councilmember Crable,
Here.
Councilmember Bray.
Here.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is our COVID-19 update by our esteemed city manager, Mr. Tim Gleason. Everybody is esteemed tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Community update on COVID. We've seen an uptick in the numbers in the past 2 weeks, and that's something that we've increased our conversation tail into last week and early this week today with the McLean County Health Department. In fact, there's a meeting tomorrow at noon that will include representatives from ISU, Westland, the town of Normal, McLean County, and us here at the city of Bloomington. The uptick in numbers prompted the video that was produced with public safety and the mayor late last week. And it made a request that we needed to do more as a community, calling on the community to be responsible and take the appropriate steps so that we don't reverse course as a community or as a region. Something else after that video and a call for better enforcement by, let's say, the restaurant tavern owners, business owners, their staff, and then the patrons themselves. Public safety, specifically the Bloomington Police Department, made a pledge that they were going to increase enforcement. Today, in preparing for this meeting, I asked Chief Donut what the numbers were for the weekend. You know, Friday evening into the morning, same thing with Saturday. The shift lieutenant is Paul Williams and reported no additional incidents. And in fact, during the routine patrols, it appeared that the establishments were doing a better job of policing themselves so that we didn't have to. So that's a positive. That's all I've got at this point. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, City Manager Gleason. At this point, we're going to move into recognition and appointments, recognition of appointments to various boards and commissions. Okay, and I see them on my screen right on cue. We have Sheila Montenay for the Planning Commission. And next is Bridget Black for the Public Safety and Community Relations Board. Okay, and that's it?
Mayor Pro Tem, there was actually one other, I think the slide was missed, and that is
Okay.
Christine, and I'm sorry about mispronouncing the last name, Christine Sapuya with the Cultural Commission.
Okay, sounds good. That's what I thought. I thought it was another one. Okay, well, thank you very much. And, you know, maybe a quick round of applause for those individuals who are taking the time to serve and help the city of Bloomington. Awesome. Our next item on the agenda is public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments that came in by way of email or anybody on the line?
We do. I'll just start with, we just had one public comment that was emailed. That was by Shelby Rapp. and that was forwarded to council earlier today. And we have 4 individuals on the line right now. We could start with John Reed and then Tim Mitchell.
Okay. Thank you very much. And let me remind those who are providing public comment that they do have 3 minutes. Who's keeping track? Is it you, Madam Clerk?
Yes, I will start a timer.
Okay, thank you.
John, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead, Jeff. Thank you.
All right. My comments are spread across the council tonight. They'll be short because not everybody is here I want to talk about. We'll start at the top with Mr. Gleason. I think you actually should send an email, public apology to Kathy Michael for your unwarranted email about masks. It's pretty funny how I don't think you're really expecting her to give back as good as she got from you. So you should give her a public apology. I was going to talk to Mr. Renner, but he's not here. So I'll move on. Jeff, let's just talk about you, Jeff. You know the definition of a fascist? It's what you just did today, sending a letter to the Panagraph about Serena Fish. Because she has a different opinion, you're trying to squash that. And that's the textbook definition of the word fascist. Because last time I checked, you're in America. Even though some on the council don't want to sign the loyalty oath to affirm they're a U.S. citizen, Jen, I'm looking at you and your little braid, little ponytails, cute. But I want to ask you, Jen, why didn't you sign the loyalty oath? Do you not want to affirm that you're a U.S. citizen? As much to do as there's been about it, I would think you'd want to put that to bed, put it to rest. I'm just asking why you wouldn't sign it. And Jeff, as far as you, did you sign it, Jeff? Did you sign the loyalty oath when you ran? I'd like to know if you did too, because I know you two are joined at the hip. You're sort of like the Wonder Twins. You know, one doesn't do anything without the approval of the other. Isn't that right, Jeff? I mean, you can say yes, but I would think as an attorney, you would know better. That in America, people have a right to an opinion, whether or not you agree with it. So that's all I've got tonight. I'll talk to Mr. Renner later. Y'all have a good evening.
Okay, thank you, John. And who is next on the agenda?
Next, we have Tim Mitchell.
Go ahead, Tim. You have 3 minutes.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Malambe and fellow council members. My name is Tim Mitchell. I am the Executive Director of the Bloomington Election Commission. On your agenda tonight is a motion to consider a couple agreements with the county and Bloomington Election Commission to utilize the Grosvenor Motors Arena as an early voting site. This election is one would have been big to begin with because it's a presidential election. Throw in COVID-19, it got a lot more complicated and difficult. I am absolutely grateful that the city of Bloomington was willing to come in and say, hey, if we could use the arena, how would that work? What would that look like? Jim Karch was great at helping talking us through that, what we would need to do. The feedback I get from voters that call our office every day is, are the polls going to be safe? Are polls going to be open? How are we going to do this? And, one of the reasons we really gravitated towards the Grosvenor Motors Arena was the space involved. A lot of space to social distance, keep people apart. It was really an ideal solution. It allows the county clerk's office and the Bloomington Election Commission to be located right together for early voting, so voters don't have to go very far for it. Again, I can't thank the council and the city enough for considering this option for early voting. We're both Kathy, Michael, and myself are very grateful that you did consider this, and we think it would be a wonderful asset to voters. I had a voter call me up the other week, and they said, "Where's your early voting site?" And I said, "Well, we're hoping it's going to be at the Grosvenor Motors Arena." And her response was, "Oh, just like Dodger Stadium out in California. That's really good." The response voters are giving us is very positive to the space and everything else. So from the Bloomington Election Commission, Kathy Michael and the Clayton County Clerk's Office, your consideration and willingness to work with us on this is very greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. Who's next?
That is all.
And next up, we have Jordan Baker.
Okay, Jordan, you're on. 3 minutes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay. Before I begin, I just want to echo Mr. Mitchell's words just a minute ago in support of having the arena for early voting. My name is Jordan Baker, and I'd like to use my time tonight to highlight a growing issue facing our community that has already been talked about by the city manager. With the recent spikes of COVID at our local universities, these pose a potential threat for both students and the greater community. The most recent data that I've seen shows that nearly half of McLean County's cases are among those aged 18 to 29, and that percentage will continue to rise as the most recent cases skew heavily towards college-age students. The county's 7-day rolling average has eclipsed 6% now, which is a near 300% increase in 1 week. I hope that we can all work together, soliciting advice from students, community members, and faculty to find the best way forward. Our current trajectory is unsustainable and is not fair for our students or for our community. And for the past week, I've been talking with students to get their input on how we can best continue the school year while mitigating the virus, all the while necessarily taking safety precautions. Many students have expressed a desire to trade being able to go out to bars and clubs from what I've talked to them, while keeping house parties on campus for just students of the university. I understand this is a difficult proposition, even for the city council, as it raises questions about alcohol on campus. However, we need to be seeking solutions now instead of simply identifying the problem. I'm hopeful that a solution will present itself while universities continue COVID testing and contact tracing. Whatever solution we can find must first protect the safety of students and the greater Bloomington Normal community. On top of this, we should strive to keep students on campus so that they can try and enjoy the college experience in a safe manner. And as a student who just graduated this summer, whose end of the semester was cut short and having to go home because of the pandemic, I would like to see students stay on campus to enjoy the experience if we can keep it safe for everyone. The best solution will meet these requirements, and I am hopeful that, as I've heard in these meetings, that your continual meetings will yield results and yield results quickly. That's my time. Thank you.
All right, and last up we have Shelby Rapp.
Yes, my name is Shelby Rapp, and to whom it may concern, on Saturday, August 22nd of 2020, one of my neighbors was out enjoying a nice walk. While crossing the intersection of Towanda Barnes and Baywood Road, he was struck by a motorist who was driving well above the posted 45-mile-per-hour speed limit. However, the driver never stopped. We have families that cross this street or travel along this portion of road daily. In order to prevent any other injuries or fatalities to our residents, I have started a petition online to request that there be a traffic signal or even just a crosswalk installed at this particular intersection. I have received over 500 signatures to date, and I am asking for the council's assistance in helping to enforce this change in order to protect our community members and prevent further tragedies from taking place. Thank you.
All right, and that was the last one, Mayor Pro Tem. Oh, Mayor Pro Tem, you are muted.
Sorry, Zoom kicked me out for a second, so it reconnected and muted me. But I'm back on. Okay, thank you. So next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any members of the council would like to remove, or the clerk wants to say something?
I was going to actually ask if I could say something on item 8E. That's the one regarding Lake Bloomington docks. One of the addresses is misstated in the ordinance. It's stated as 2446 Anderson, and it should have a third 4 in there. So 24446 Anderson. So if when you consider the consent agenda, you could do it with that amendment, that would be wonderful. And we'll get that corrected on the backside. Thanks.
Okay. So are there any items that any members of the council would like to remove from the consent agenda?
I don't see any hands up currently.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
The agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay. So motion by Alderman Massey and second by Alderman Black. So let's go to a roll call.
All right, Councilmember Mathey.
Yes.
Councilmember Bolin.
Yes.
Councilmember Milawambwe.
Yes.
Or Mayor Pro Tem, sorry. Councilmember Emig.
Yes.
Councilmember Painter.
Yes.
Councilmember Carrillo.
Yes.
Councilmember Black.
Yes.
Councilmember Crable.
Yes.
Councilmember Bray.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Moving along to regular agenda. We have a presentation and discussion by Public Works on various Public Works projects as requested by the Public Works Department. And I believe we have a presentation by Kevin Cothe, but I'm not sure if the city manager would like to make some opening comments.
I'll be very brief. Appreciate the opportunity to make this presentation to this elected body, but probably more so to the community. We're talking about taxpayer dollars. We're talking about some high dollar infrastructure projects, and thought that we would take this 10 minutes to share the work that's been completed and the work that's ongoing. So I'm going to turn it over to the Public Works Director, Kevin Cothe. Kevin?
Thank you, City Manager Gleason, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. Thank you for this opportunity to share real briefly some of the projects we have going on this summer. I've got a presentation. I'm going to share my screen here, and hopefully this comes up okay. Should be visible now. So this is just a real brief update on some of the stuff that Public Works has going on this year. And as we try to get this to advance, there we go. The projects I'm going to talk about, we have a lot of the information on the city's website. As many of you know, we have a bloomingtonstreets.com that links to the city's website. And so on the left side, you see the website for the Bloomington Streets. It gives you up-to-date information about what streets are under construction, which ones are done, and which ones are going to be scheduled to start soon. And then on the right, for our major projects, we have some additional project information, such as for the water main work that's going on Sunset currently. So that is out there for you or the citizens to reference anytime they want. Highlighting some of the roadwork projects going on this year. This is just a smattering of pictures from everything from Royal Point to Bike Road to some stuff on Clinton and some of the sidewalk work. But as you know, there's a host of projects going on across the city with roadwork, and kind of status of where we're at right now. We got about half of the roadwork nearing completion. There's still some pavement markings to be done, some cleanup work, but pretty much Bike and Clinton and Stride and Royal Point and 6 Points for the most part are done. That wraps up about half of them already, which is a very good position to be in. We still have about half to go, and then as you know, pavement preservation was just approved, that contract, so we expect pavement preservation to begin after Labor Day with the reclamite, and then the C85 treatments to start probably later in September, beginning of October. Outside of the traditional road work, we've taken on some other projects this year. And one area that was really needing help was over by IWU at the intersection of East Street and Kelsey. And this is just some pictures from the work that took place over there. Obviously, a very busy area for pedestrians and includes some traffic that uses that area. The bricks were getting in bad shape. There were some pavement patches out there. Crosswalks were not ADA compliant. And this is just some pictures. We had 2 different contractors work out there, one with the sidewalks and the other with relaying some of the brick pavement. We think it turned out really good, as you can see in the lower right picture. We had changed the crosswalks to be concrete across the street because the brick surface being uneven really is not ADA compliant. And so this provides ADA compliant crosswalks along with a street that's been improved, and now the drainage works better as well. So excited to get that done just as classes got back in session at IWU. Besides the work that we have our contractors do, there is still, work that the public service crews do and the water distribution crews as well, with water main repairs, sewer repairs, and then of course patching the streets back. So don't want to leave that out because they do a lot of important work for us. One project that just got wrapped up, or is nearing completion, is the Safe Routes to School project, that $200,000 grant that we were awarded to improve the sidewalks near Sheridan School for the kids that walk to school. And this got done in a very timely manner. There's still a little bit of cleanup work and punch list to do, but in general, all the sidewalk construction is complete out there. And we're just thrilled that we're able to use that money to benefit the students that walk to school, and it benefits the neighborhood as well around the Sheridan School. Another project that's been years in the making that we're thrilled that is operational now is the traffic signals at GE and Keaton and Auto Row intersection. Some of you may know that this has been going on for years to be able to get that designed and budgeted. And finally able to deliver that project, and the signals are operational. There's still some punch list items and final touches to do, but we're thrilled that that's operational now. Wanted to mention about the downtown wayfinding signs. That project is moving forward. It's been long anticipated and waited for, and this is some pictures of some of the LED message boards that have been installed in the last couple of weeks. They are not completely operational yet. One has power, the other doesn't yet, but very soon we'll be able to be displaying LED messages on those boards. In addition, the regular wayfinding signs are starting to be installed as well. And we have a schedule from the contractor doing the installs that they hope to be done by mid-October to wrap up sign installs by the end of October is where we're at now. And so we do have a schedule moving forward and are excited that that this is finally getting delivered where people can see these out on the street. Another big project that I mentioned before was the Sunset Road water main. This water main replacement replaces an old 4-inch water main and brings it up to current city standards. Some of the pictures you're looking at is the water main going into the trench, and there was one section that had to be bored underneath a bridge that's out there. But that project is well underway. Most of the new water main pipe is in the ground. They're working on the connections at both the east and west ends of Sunset to Emerson, and that's why the street's closed right now. They're working on that connection down to Foley, and once that's all connected, then the water main has to be tested and chlorinated, and then the water services to the homes will be connected to the new water main. So that project is moving right along, and once the water main is complete and the road is backfilled, and then we'll be looking to resurface that road yet this fall. So that's on the schedule yet for this fall. Another big project we had going on this year is the Hamilton tank, elevated tank that needed some work, needed to be repainted and needed some maintenance. And this is some of the pictures. Some of you have seen those tankers deployed around town. Those were there to support the water system while that tank was out of service being painted. And so as we get that tank back in service, those portable tanks around town will start to disappear, hopefully by the end of this week. What you see on the right is a new mixing pipe that blends the water in the tank. Before we had some issues with stratification of old water sitting in the tank. And so that new pipe standing with that man in the corner there, that allows the water to be blended as the new water comes in. It mixes and stirs it. It's a passive system, but it'll improve the water quality. And we've got some other pictures here of the tank, both inside and outside, as it just got new coats of paint cleaned up and new coats of paint and some rusted items fixed and repaired. And of course, on the outside, we have the new logo for the city of Bloomington. And so it's a great project and it's nearing completion. The tank has been filled back up now and is going to be back in service this week. So not sure what's happening to my screen here.
Hey, Kevin, you did show a YouTube login.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. I've not run across that before. Maybe IS can help me with that because I don't have that working right now. But just a couple more slides. I'll talk through them real quick. There's not too much left. At Evergreen Lake, stream bank stabilization, we worked with the Soil and Water Conservation District and have a project up there to stabilize the shorelines for Evergreen, which helps greatly to reduce erosion and runoff into our lakes and helps to address phosphorus problems that come from soil erosion washing into our lakes, along with just the sediment filling up the lakes and taking away from our capacity. So it's another great project. And then water SCADA upgrades. We have a multi-year, 5-year program to fix our SCADA system. And our SCADA system, some of it is more than 20 years old now. And so we've got some of the new stuff installed at the water treatment plant and at Fort Dusty A and Regency pump stations, but there's more going on. And in the near future, we hope to have all the pressure stations with the upgraded SCADA, and then more to come on that. The sewer CCTV inspections, that was a big contract that was approved earlier this year. That project is getting close to 17% complete. About 171,000 lineal feet of sewer has been televised to date, cleaned and televised. And then one other project that we just got complete not too long ago was the Stonebrook Court ditch. That's an area on the east side of Bloomington that the waterway is the city's responsibility, and it had, with all the new home construction over the years out there, it had silted in, and some trees and vegetation were growing that were blocking the stream channel. And we just worked with Parks and Gildner and got that cleaned up and addressed. And so we're thrilled that we're able to get these projects done. More to come. There's still more to the construction season this year, but that's kind of a brief update. And I'll just turn it back to you, Mayor Pro Tem, for any questions or comments.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kevin, for a wonderful presentation. And please pass my thanks to the staff for all the wonderful work they've done so far in this season, particularly given COVID. I think anything we do is bonus. So any questions from the council? Oh, so I see a hand, Jamie, Alderman Matthew.
Thank you, Mboka. Thanks, Kevin. Great presentation. I actually have 2 questions, both of them related to sidewalks. So I know that's a favorite topic. The first one is normally we advocate for like a complete streets program. When we go in and we resurface the street, we try to make sure that curbs and sidewalks are also taken care of at the same time. Last year, the state came in and did an emergency like repaving job on Clinton from Route 9 down to Oakland. And we appreciate that IDOT fixed the road, but the sidewalk in that stretch is still in pretty rough shape. So when IDOT's responsible for the road, how do we prioritize when the sidewalk actually gets looked at? Because it does need some attention in that area.
And I won't disagree with you, Alderman Mathy. The emergency resurfacing kind of falls into a different category with IDOT. And what I mean by that is for November letting, IDOT is going to be bidding the work on Veterans Parkway from Washington to Commerce. And as part of that resurfacing project, they are doing ADA ramp and sidewalk upgrades. The other projects like the Route 9 project that is still in phase 1, you know, including Empire and Locust Market and all the connecting streets for Route 9, that project also is including sidewalk in it. So the larger projects that are planned out in advance, IDOT is addressing sidewalks, but when they do an emergency resurfacing like that, they are not. And so that's what you saw there. We know that in the 5-year program for IDOT, they have a phase 1 coming up for US 150 going through town, and that would include you know, Morrissey and Oakland and Hannah and Clinton as well.
Okay, so it's in progress is what it sounds like.
It is. It's not that they've completely overlooked it. It's that it's coming.
Okay. The second question revolves around Mercer. There's no sidewalks on either side of the street on Mercer, and I've been approached by several of the stretch of Lincoln from Mercer out to Veterans Parkway has Westminster Village and a lot of other secure adult living apartment units in that street, and they are asking for a route or sidewalk so that they can get to the Jewel on Oakland for when the weather's nice to go and walk and get their groceries and get back. We've also got Corpus Christi down there with kids that are walking, trying to get a path over to Corpus Christi. And I know that the Mercer has been on the list of someday we want to do this sidewalk. And, you know, I don't know if it's even remotely being talked about right now, but there's, you know, it's definitely one of the bigger major streets where I see people walking in the street in the wintertime. You know, no sidewalk on either side of the road there for them to use navigating.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Alderman Mathy. I took some notes on that, but you're right. There's certain areas of Bloomington where, you know, that area along Mercer and the neighborhoods adjoining it, quite a few of those neighborhoods don't have sidewalk. And you may have remembered, I can't think of the name right now, but over by Oakland School, we just did a water main project road there that we added sidewalk on one side. But I appreciate your support and advocacy for the sidewalks, because sometimes we have individual property owners in neighborhoods that don't want the sidewalk in their front yard, so to speak. So anything we can do to advocate, I appreciate that support.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see that we have Alderman Craybill and Alderwoman Boland who have asked questions or who are looking to ask questions. And we have about 6 or 7 minutes left in the time allotted. So just bear that in mind. I might have to ask for a motion to extend time. Hopefully those are yes or no questions. Go ahead, Alderman Craybill.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. First, Kevin, thank you for the great presentation. I thought it really explained things very well about what's happening, and it looks like a lot's happening, and it is. Specifically for Ward 8, thanks for Stride Road. Really looks nice. It's all done. All the cones and everything are gone. So that's great. And I know everybody is excited about the work that's going to be done on Hershey. You mentioned in in your report about making sure that, crosswalks and things are ADA compliant. And I appreciate that. And then just, a resident that we had in the Eastgate area that had some concerns with a big hole in the easement next to her yard that we were able to get fixed to her satisfaction. So thank you for that. 2 questions. And this, I know you probably just heard of this, and I think it's something either in probably both in Alderman Bray's and Maboka's ward with regard to the public comment about Tawanda Barnes and that crossing. Just initial thoughts on that. It seems like a crosswalk probably would be too dangerous in my thought, but how does the city go about in that process of looking into that? And then a second question, totally different. When you have streets like Alexander and 6 Point Road without a sidewalk, and we talk about bus stops that are on that sidewalk, how difficult is it for the city, in essence, to create sidewalks in those situations where you might have to buy easements from property owners and there may not be much room for those types of things? Thanks, Kevin.
Yes, thank you, Alderman Craybill. The Tawanda Barnes situation is unfortunate. We never like to have word of people getting injured, but we have, Tawanda Barnes is a county highway facility, so we have made county highways aware of the incident that happened, and the process would be, working with the county and through our traffic engineer, Phil Allen, typically takes those requests. We ask that, people provide a written request for, concerns and submit them to the Public Works Department. And then those get routed to our traffic engineer for his consideration of countermeasures that might be helpful to improve safety, because we always like to keep people as safe as we can. In this case, we'll also have to work with the county highway department because it is a county highway. So there's other factors that go into that, but certainly that is something that we want to look at closer. As far as sidewalks on some rural section roads like 6 Points in Alexander, those are more difficult to provide sidewalks on because those rural section roads have ditches, and with the ditches, it's just the right of way is fairly limited, and without doing curb and gutter and storm sewer, it's very difficult to provide pedestrian accommodations without getting a significantly larger section of right of way. So those roads, and Stride Drive is another example of that. There's no sidewalk on it. So it's much easier to provide sidewalk when you have a curb and gutter, and that curb and gutter forms a protective barrier to help keep people on the road, and people on the sidewalk are separated then from each other. The ditch can do the same thing, but there's usually no room on the other side of the ditch to put a sidewalk in. So those particular roads are very challenging to get sidewalk without doing a complete reconstruction of the road.
Okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Sounds good. Thank you. Alderwoman Boland.
I'll be short and sweet. Thank you, Kevin, for all the work that you and your staff do. It's really nice to have a report to show the public and the council. And the 2 roads that you did out in Ward 2, they're just amazing. And for me, the striping is very important because we lack streetlights out there. And I also got a question from the people in Luther Oaks to see what the progress of Lutz Road was. And I told them that I thought it would probably be done, well, that it might be done by the end of the building season this year, but possibly in the spring. So could you address that?
Yes, for Lutz Road,
yes,
there was, some delays because of some various things with the utility relocates, as well as some additional permits we just had to get that we weren't aware of initially. And so We expect that work will begin probably shortly after Labor Day. And the storm sewers will be the first thing to go in to get the underground. And then depending on how the weather goes with the fall, maybe the road, or maybe wait till spring to finish it out. The last thing we want is to have the road be a total mess for winter.
Right.
But it's still on track to be done and to start, like I said, probably right after Labor Day weekend.
Well, they're happy that even the work is starting. So I'll pass that information on. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, if there are, I don't see any other questions, and we're right at the end of our time here for this particular segment. So, Kevin, thank you very much for a great presentation. And again, kudos to the staff for working under very difficult conditions and still being able to deliver. And how you keep all these projects in your head to be able to speak to them, on the fly is amazing to me. I wish I could be like you. Everybody wishes they could be like Kevin.
Thank you. My pleasure. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay. Take care. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is consideration of potential action regarding ordinance 2020-18, declaring a local emergency due to COVID-19 virus. And it's my understanding that we do not have anything at this moment, no changes, right, City Manager? Ethan?
That's correct, Mayor Pro Tem. No modifications at this time.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is our Finance Director's report.
And Mayor Pro Tem, we are actually not doing the Finance Director's report this evening. I don't know if Tim has anything to say. Okay.
Real quick, we are not going to have a finance director's report tonight, but wanted to share with the elected and the community two things. One, the revenues still are slightly better than our projections. And then also the monthly report will be posted to the website, close of business tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. Or do you want to just go ahead and move straight into City Manager's discussion? Do you have anything to add?
I do actually have a handful of items, and I'll move through these rather quickly. Mayor Pro Tem and Council and the community, Chairman Ryan Whitehouse with Connect Transit has requested that I make this announcement that Connect will be releasing the second survey on their website later this week to narrow down the amenities our riders in the community are interested in seeing in the downtown Bloomington Transfer Center. Connect staff will also be on Front Street gathering feedback from the riders via tablet. This information will help identify the best locations and provide suggestions on possible partnerships. This survey will run through September 18th. So wanted to share that at Chairman Whitehouse's request. Something else, wanted to shift gears. I think it was last meeting that I shared that Deputy City Manager Tyus received his International City Manager Association credentialed manager designation. And this was a process that took Billy about 1.5 years to complete. Well, I've got another staff announcement, and this really is quite the accomplishment. Our finance director, Scott Rathman, who's not on the call tonight, but he recently achieved the Government Finance Officers Association Certified Public Finance Officers credentialing. And his certification number is 836. So I'm going to assume that that's where he stands nationwide. And truly, this is a big deal. When Scott came to the organization about 4 years ago, his finance was primarily a private sector. I started 2 years ago. He was in the interim position, and one of the agreements that he and I made when I appointed him as the finance director is I wanted this certification, and I wanted it to be completed in 2 years. And this is something that he was able to complete. There are several tests, several classroom sessions, and it truly is quite the accomplishment that we've got with Scott Rathbun as a certified public finance officer. Next item is wanted to share, the community knows that Dan Donath is retiring as the police chief. He served the city for 26 years. His last day in the office is going to be this Friday, the 28th. And what I wanted to do is, while it was a very quick year, there were accomplishments that he had. When he took the position a year ago, he knew that there were some things that were near and dear to him. I knew that I wanted some things out of the new police chief, felt that there were opportunities. And while the list is much longer than this, I didn't want to miss an opportunity to share this with the community. Increased our minority hiring. The police department hired 3 minorities and 3 women. Created and started the first ever officer wellness program. This is one that Dan was passionate about. Because officers that are healthier and more resilient serve the community better, and that is so true. Created the first ever community resource guide so that officers can help connect citizens to the resources available in our community. Also started to shift the culture from a predominantly law enforcement role to more of a community caretaking role. And that's something that he started this time last year when he took the position as police chief. We then also increased our public safety camera program, which has helped solve dozens of major crimes already, at the same time responsibly protecting citizens' privacy. And that last part is key when we talk about a camera program in our community. So one, congratulations to Chief Donath, but very much wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about him, talk about Scott Rathbun, share the Connect Transit public information update that Chairman Whitehouse requested. Also, I want to make another quick comment, and I probably should have done this under my COVID comments, but it is a conversation throughout the state, and we've seen some communities take action on a mask ordinance, and not suggesting that that's where we're headed, but the conversation is occurring in this community. While we do not meet again for 3 weeks until Monday, September 14th, wanted to inform the elected and the community that this is not something that Corporate Counsel Jeff Juergens and I feel is something that can be done at my level or at the mayor's level and the mayor pro tem with an emergency order, that this is in fact something that would have to come back before council. So I just wanted to make that update, and that's all I've got. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, City Manager Gleason. At this point, we're going to move into mayor's discussion, and the mayor did not give me anything to share, so we'll go ahead and go to council members' discussion. Any comments from the council members? I'm not looking at my screen. Okay,
It
go
does.
ahead.
I was going to say you have Councilmember Matthey and Councilmember Black with their hands up.
And Council Member Enig and Krieger as well. Okay. All right, let's go with Councilmember Matthey.
So thank you, appreciate that. 2 things for our city manager. One is if we need to come back for a special meeting to talk about masks, I am in favor of that and have no issue with that, just let me know. And number 2 is I do not think you owe any sort of an apology to the county clerk, because I read your email and there was nothing inappropriate about your email. And so don't sweat that because it's not necessary. Thanks.
Okay, Councilmember Black.
Thanks, Boca. Yeah, so I sent an email this morning about this topic. I'm glad that Tim touched on it, chatting with the health department. Yeah, it's a long, Jamie said it's a long email. You know me, I can't, why say it in 5 words if I can say it in 50? So yeah, I just wanted to reiterate to Tim, just thank you for meeting with the county health department. There's been mask ordinances have been a hot topic. It's one of those things that means something different to everybody who hears that term. I my opinion has continued to be unchanged from the beginning of COVID, that we should do whatever the health department recommends. So any specific policies that the health department believes we need to do, definitely want to get those under consideration quickly. So I would too sign on to a special meeting should we need one.
Okay, Councilmember Eman.
Thank you. I as well would sign on to a special meeting if we need one. I'm glad that all of the parties are meeting tomorrow so that we can try to go for a consistent approach across the community. And I'm really interested in their review of the IDPH Region 4 mitigation measures, which certainly suggests that there are things the community can put in place to assist in mitigating this. It may be a mask ordinance if we reach a positivity rate of 6.5% or greater for an extended period of time. But having that unified voice led by the health department would be incredibly valuable right now. And I look forward to hearing more about that. But I do want to also give a shout out to the illustrious Kevin Cothe and say thank you for Clinton Boulevard. It looks really nice, and a lot of residents have commented, as well as some of the sidewalk work being done. And I also appreciate that your team is continuing to engage in the smaller, much needed projects around the community. And I look forward to just continuing to see more progress in this area. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Craigle.
I decided I'll withdraw from the list. Thanks.
Okay, sounds good. It looks like we have Councilmember Brave.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And just wanted to speak briefly to the Tawanda Barnes incident. And, you know, as we look at that road, Tawanda Barnes Road, while it is a county highway, we do have our wards, both Ward 9 and Mayor Pro Tem's ward straddling that particular county highway. I've had conversations recently with citizens in regards to a point north of where the incident occurred this weekend, because there is a park there, Bittner Park, that residents want to visit, and they find themselves crossing over to get to that park. So there is support for a crosswalk there, as well as where this incident may have occurred. So I look forward to having conversations about Tawanda Barnes Road and having, you know, coming up with solutions that we can present to the county. And Kevin, Director Cothe, I appreciate your engagement on that, and City Manager and Deputy City Manager as well. And I'm appreciative of our colleagues' support of looking after that public safety piece, because that certainly is our responsibility and should be prioritized. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like we have another addition, Councilmember Carrillo.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick reminder, because I got several questions about this. So this Thursday, the 27th at 6:30 p.m., the Human Relations Commission is having a conversation about, the invest, divest strategy, about funding the police. I had a couple of people who reached out because they were confused because the website showed that it was sold out, and folks thought that was the case for online tickets as well. So just I got clarification from the Human Relations Commission. They are limiting capacity in person, but they are not limiting capacity online. And so people can still go ahead and sign up, but do need a virtual ticket to actually be able to access the meeting, as far as I understand. So just wanted to share that out. Thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you. That concludes our council members' discussion. And our next item on the agenda is our executive session. So I would need a motion for us to move into executive session to consider litigation pursuant to Section 2C 11 of 5 ILCS 120.
I will make that
What?
motion.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Boland and second by Councilmember Bray. Roll call.
And actually on these, we can't, there's two different ones. Could we also edit the motion to include personnel?
Okay.
Yeah, we can just group them together if that's all right.
Okay, I was under the impression that we're not doing personnel, but I must have dreamt it.
Sorry.
Okay, all right. So I guess then we're also considering personnel in executive session for pursuant to section 2C1 of 5 ILCS 120.
It looks like Jeff
So,
wants to say something.
Jeff?
Yes, thanks. And just to add a little bit more detail, the litigation is pending litigation, and the personnel matter is part of a performance review, and we will be taking action after our closed session.
After.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
We'll be returning to open session to take action, which is unusual. We don't usually do this, but we will do that. So to the public, stay tuned for more exciting stuff.
That's perfect. And just for clarification, Councilmember Bray and Councilmember Boland, you were okay with the edited
Yes.
motion?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Matthey?
Yes.
Councilmember Boland?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Millawamble?
Yes, I have two titles tonight.
It's fancy. It's a lot to say. Councilmember Emig?
Yes.
Councilmember Painter?
Yes.
Councilmember Carrillo?
Yes.
Councilmember Black?
Yes.
Councilmember Crable?
Yes.
Councilmember Bray?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So the motion passes. And I think we have something from Phil from IS, right?
That is correct.
To,
So if you go to your email, there should be a Zoom link. So you'll just leave this meeting that you're here in right now, go to the other one, and when we're finished with executive, we'll pop back on this one for additional action.
Okay, awesome. Let's do that. Okay. Is everybody here? Looks like it. Okay.
I don't see
All right. You don't see Jeff?
Jen.
Jen.
Oh, Jen? Okay. No, yep, you're right.
Maybe that puppy's causing her some trouble.
So Leslie, remind me of the next order again. So come out of
Yep, so we're just going to
executive
ask
session.
for a motion to return to open session. I'll take the
Right.
roll call vote and then go into the direction, and we're live and ready to go.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm not seeing Jen. Can somebody text her maybe?
I'm texting her right now.
Okay, difficulty.
She's coming. Send her away.
She's coming. Okay, all right. Should we also hum the Jeopardy theme song for her?
There she is.
Oh.
Blame the puppy. Blame the puppy. Puppies do not sit well through executive session.
Oh, goodness. That's why I don't do puppies. Okay, are we ready?
So if we
All
could
right.
just do a motion to return to open session.
Okay, can I have a motion to return to open session?
So moved.
I'll make that motion.
Return to open session.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Everybody's so excited to return to open session. So motion by Alderman Matthew and second by Alderwoman Emig. And do we do a roll call?
We do.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthew,
Yes.
Councilmember Bolin,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Milawangwe,
Yes.
Councilmember Emig,
Yes.
Councilmember Painter,
Yes.
Councilmember Carrillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Black,
Yes.
Councilmember Crable,
Yes.
Councilmember Bray.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Our next item of business is direction and action on case number 17-L-133. And I believe we
Maboka?
have a motion. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the Corporation Council to execute a release and dismissal of the claims in case number 17-L-133 involving Siam, BMI, and John Butler.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Second by Alderwoman Carrillo, I think.
That was,
Is that correct?
that was
Painter.
Councilmember Painter.
Oh, Councilmember Painter. Okay, sorry. I heard a voice, but I couldn't tell where it was coming from. Okay, sounds good. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Matthew,
Yes.
Councilmember Bolin,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Milawangwe,
Yes.
Councilmember Emig,
Yes.
Councilmember Painter,
Yes.
Councilmember Carrillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Black,
Yes.
Councilmember Crable,
Yes.
Councilmember Bray.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much. The item passes. And unfortunately, we have come to the status part of the agenda, which is the adjournment. So do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion by Alderman Matthew, second by
Second.
Alderwoman Painter. Okay, awesome. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. All right. Opposed? Nay.
Aye,
I'm the only one who's opposed. I had too much fun.
You did a
You
great
like being the
job.
chair.
Thank you. Great job,
All right.
Boca.
Nice.
Good job,
Thank you,
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Take
Yeah,
care.
good
Have a
job.
good
Bye,
day.
everybody.
Good night.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Take care.